Imagine seeing a sunrise that covers half the sky. NASA shared some pictures of something wild that happened. The star Betelgeuse blew its top and sent a huge chunk of itself into space, calling it a surface mass ejection, and NASA says it was like 400 billion times bigger than a regular solar flare from our sun. Some scientists who saw it said it was like watching a star grow up in real time, shedding massive parts of itself. It kind of throwing a wrench in what we thought we knew about the universe. So what made Betelgeuse pop off, and what does it mean for everything else? Let's check it out. You know how constellations are groups of stars linked to old stories? People still use them to get around. Well, Betelgeuse is one of those stars, and it's huge and bright. You can spot it as this ruby red, twinkling thing on the upper right shoulder of the Orion constellation, which is supposed to be a hunter. Astronomers keep an eye on it because it's a pretty lively star that pulses every 400 days. It's easy to point out in the sky because of its reddish-orange color. If you ever doubted that stars come in different colors, well, this is proof. It's also known as Alpha Orion, and it's the second brightest star in Orion, right after the blue supergiant. Due to its weird name and random changes, Betelgeuse is a pretty interesting star to study and watch. Alpha stars are usually the brightest in their group, but Riel outshines it. The title comes from its size, how bright it is, and its color. Of course, it's pretty famous as is. It even inspired the movie Beetlejuice. If you are in North America, Europe, or Canada, it's usually the 7th brightest star you can see. Worldwide, it's number 10. Compared to other stars, it's pretty close to us, though it's hard to measure exactly how far. Somewhere between 430 and 724 light-years away. Betelgeuse is the closest red supergiant star to Earth that we know of. And get this, they've only spotted about 200 of these red supergiant stars. Betelgeuse's radius is about 764 times bigger than the Sun. So if it replaced our Sun, it would stretch past the asteroid belt and even out to Jupiter. Earth, Mars, Venus, and Mercury would be goners. Its mass is also 16,128 times heavier than the Sun, and it gives off 26,000 times more light. It's visible from 548 light-years away, but it's not as hot as the Sun. The surface is about 3,600 Kelvin. Only about 13.3% of its energy comes out as visible light. If we could see all types of light, it'd be way brighter than Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. Every 10,000 years, Betelgeuse sheds the amount of mass of one sun. It's got a nebula around it because it shoots out stuff in all directions. There's a cloud of material around it that's 250 times the size of the star itself. They think the nebula stretches out to $30. That's 30 times the distance from the Sun to Neptune. Our Sun throws out stuff too, which is called solar flares. But the Sun only lets off tiny bits of its outer atmosphere, the corona. That's what they're called, coronal mass ejections, or CMEs. CMEs and those surface mass ejections can happen separately. The CME is when a star spits out part of its unstable outer atmosphere known as the corona. Our Sun does it a lot, and it can mess with Earth. These CMEs can zoom along at over 1,800 meters per second, sending magnetic fields and plasma into space. If one of these CMEs hits Earth, it can damage satellites and power grids. It can even be dangerous for astronauts up in orbit. Now, here's the crazy thing that happened to Betelgeuse. Back in 2019, it blew a bunch of stuff into space, which then cooled down and turned into a cloud of cosmic dust. This dust blocked Betelgeuse's light, making it look dimmer from Earth. Also, its regular pulsing rhythm got all messed up. particular CME was bonkers because it released 400 billion times more mass than a regular CME. One astronomer, Andrea Dupree, said that the star was shaking so bad that the inside of the star might be all messed up and that the surface of the star is trying to get itself back together. Astronomers have been tracking this star's pulse for 200 years. It's gone. All red giants, including the star, are dying. So watching this process is a good learning chance for astronomers. Most stars get their power from nuclear fusion, which eventually ends. Then the star goes through some interesting changes before it dies. A star starts out, it's made of hydrogen. The gravity is so strong that the hydrogen squishes and turns into helium. This fusion makes a lot of heat and light. That energy shoots to the surface and comes out as photons. The star gets old, the hydrogen runs out, and the helium starts turning into carbon. Once the helium's gone, neon will eventually fuse with carbon, which makes ions. But when that happens, the fusion starts sucking up energy instead of giving it off. Since nothing's stopping the star's gravity, the fusion of ions causes the star to collapse. The resulting impact is called a supernova, one of the biggest explosions. A supernova can send out more energy than 10 billion suns all at once. Stars change color as they age. The young hot ones are blue and the older cooler ones are red. It depends on what stage the star is in. Back in 168 AD, a Greek scientist Tammy Ad wrote that Betelgeuse was reddish. Centuries before that, Chinese astronomers said it looked yellow. Maybe it used to be yellow supergiant. By looking at Betelgeuse's explosion, astronomers might be able to figure out how red stars lose mass before they blow up into supernova. One of the astronomers, DRI, said that they've never seen a star throw off so much stuff before. It's a completely new thing that we can watch and study using the Hubble telescope. Can see how stars change over time, but because this event is so unusual, it's hard to tell if this means Betelgeuse is about to go supernova. According to NASA, it might not be at the end of its life at all. Everything in space happens super slow, but compared to other events, the red supergiants die pretty fast. NASA thinks that Betelgeuse will blow up in the next 100,000 years. Scientists have been checking out Betelgeuse since way back in the 1st century BC. More recently, a scientist named Saran Nance and her team tried to figure out when red supergiants like Betelgeuse might explode. Nance and her crew ran a bunch of computer models using Betelgeuse as the base. Compared the models to what they actually observed. If Betelgeuse isn't going to explode for another 100,000 years, why did it suddenly get so dim and act so weird? Well, Betelgeuse was kicked out of its spot in the Orion OB1. They've seen it moving through space at more than 4 light-years per second. After it started dimming in October 2019, it lost brightness by February 2020. By February 17, 2020, its brightness had been steady for about 10 days and then it started getting brighter again. It really stopped dimming completely 5 days later, signaling the official end of the dimming. Since nothing had changed in the infrared scans on February 24, 2020, the visual shifts weren't linked to anything going on in the core. Another study said that the dimming was probes because of a cloud of space dust. A different study using submar wavelengths said it wasn't dust, but that the dimming was caused by huge star spots. Even later, they saw that Betelgeuse had gotten way brighter. Between May and August, Betelgeuse is so close to the sun that it's almost impossible to see from. Before 2020, its brightness was plus 0.4, but when they looked at it using the Stereo satellite in June and July of 2020, they saw that it had dimmed by 0.5 since the last observation in April. It was unexpected to everyone as the maximum and minimum were expected to occur in August/September 2020 and around April 2021 respectively. Betelgeuse is known to fluctuate a lot, so it's difficult to say. The dimming pointed to a second dimming event, showing up sooner than expected. In June 2020, they found a second dust cloud coming from Betelgeuse. Some people guessed that a cool patch on its surface could be making the dust. By August, another study backed that up. They think the gas shot out by the star made the dust. Studies in 2022 using the Hubble Space Telescope showed that a surface mass ejection might be the cause. The shot out by Betelgeuse cooled off and formed the dust that made it look dimmer. This broken bit of Betelgeuse's surface, several times heavier than the Moon, was sent into space, cooled down, and made a dust cloud that blocked the star from Earth. Even regular people with backyard telescopes could see the dimming that started in late 2019. What's even wilder is that Betelgeuse's 400-day pulse has vanished. For basically 200 years, scientists have been watching this pattern by checking how the star's surface moves and how bright it is. The disturbance just revealed the size of the blast. Astronomers now are thinking that the star is slowly getting back to normal. We've never seen an ejection like this before, so we don't know everything about it. We might get a chance to observe this new thing and check out its surface features with Hubble. When will this happen? Maybe not in our lifetime. Will Earth be toast when Betelgeuse goes supernova? Nope. The explosion won't hurt us Earthlings because it's too far. But astronomers guess that a supernova needs to be within 50 light-years to be the threat. Betelgeuse is way farther than that. So, while Earth won't be at risk, we'll get a crazy cool view of a super bright star in the night sky. Because Betelgeuse is close, astronomers will get a special chance to learn about the star when it blows up. Currently, you can't see Betelgeuse at it. So, don't go trying to find it. If it even went supernova right now, we probably wouldn't see anything except in August around midday. Betelgeuse may have already exploded. The star is key for studying stellar life and death. It's huge and has weird traits, so it's pretty much perfect as a research lab for understanding how massive stars. It's known as a red supergiant. Observations suggest that Betelgeuse might eventually transform, which results in a brilliant supernova. Could end up as a neutron star or even a black hole depending on how much stuff it has left. Scientists are digging for more on how it's acting, like how fast it's losing mass and how its surface is changing, which could show us more about similar stars in the cosmos. Besides being good for science, Betelgeuse captures the hearts of many. Movies like the 1988 film named after the star have solidified its place